Patriots Nation, today we've got spicy locker room chatter out of Foxborough and one decision that split the fan base. There's a new piece walking through the door, a quiet cut that flew under the radar, and 3 workouts that could shake up the rotation. But the point that hit this fan base hardest is about total trust inside the room and a bold bet on January. Do you think the Patriot way should prioritize cohesion or aggressiveness on the market? You won't believe what we've got today. So sit down, hit like, and let's get right to it, because there's a twist, a surprise, and a controversy that says a lot about who these Patriots are becoming. Let's face this head on, because this is where the temperature rises in Foxborough. The entire league expected a move, some kind of splash, and the Patriots stayed quiet at the trade deadline. Deafening silence, right? Maybe not. Since that galvanizing win over the Bills, this locker room has repeated a mantra that explains a lot. We got. We're all we need. It's not just a Stephon Diggs soundbite, it's a culture directive. When a group truly believes disrupting the outside in can cost you what you can't buy, chemistry, trust, rhythm, and for a team ahead of schedule, protecting that core can be worth more than a rental headline. Take a breath and think this through. Mike Vrabel and the new front office aren't building for a 3-month sprint. They're building for a 3-year climb. They've already proved they know how to flip picks, open space, and reshape a roster. Drop a big-name edge, wide out, or running back into this mix, and you might steal a few October headlines, but you also risk stealing critical snaps from guys who earn the room the hard way. The equilibrium is delicate. There's a neon cautionary tale the entire NFL remembers. Short-term sugar highs often lead to long-term cap hangovers. Last year, a team with a new head coach and a rising rookie quarterback decided to bulldoze its timeline. They spent picks on a star corner at the buzzer, made headlines, and months later paid the bill with an aging core, a tighter cap, and a defense that cracked when it mattered most. In 2024, the Washington Commanders were that surprise team. New head coach Dan Quinn, ascending rookie Jaden Daniels, sitting 7-2 going into deadline week. General manager Adam Peters tapped the brakes on the rebuild and shipped a bundle of picks to New Orleans for Marshawn Lattimore and a 5th. Lattimore battled a hamstring, struggled, and got cooked in the NFC title game. The lost draft capital snowballed into more veteran deals in March. Strike while the iron's hot. And a year later, the roster felt older, banged up, and stuck in a skid. Foxborough took the opposite route, moving pieces like Kyle Duggar, Keon White, and Jalen Polk for future capital, and passing on a shiny ad who'd immediately push Harold Landry and Calavon Chaisson for snaps. Now to the move that doesn't change the top line, but changes the tone. The Patriots added Brendan Rice to the practice squad. Yes, the last name carries weight, but this is about fit, not inheritance. With Kayshon Boutte treating a hamstring and turning into a weekend question, the staff needed a bridge. Rice can be exactly that. A bridge with upside. He leaves USC with 12 touchdowns and 791 yards, was a 7th-round pick in 2024, appeared in 3 games for the Chargers, and became available after roster cuts. Translation for Foxborough, a bigger target with route feel and exposure to multiple systems, ready to be molded the Patriot way. Think 3rd and short, condensed splits, red zone fades, and in-breakers off play action. Rice brings catch radius, early contact sturdiness, and that high box presence that's missing when Boots sits. Even if he isn't elevated immediately, a full week of practice changes installation. More 3 big WR looks to one side, more stack variations to force the defense to declare coverage, more motion to spring Demario Douglas into space. Philosophy-wise, this is Vrabel playing the long game without ignoring the short game. No premium picks burned for a veteran at the buzzer. Instead, incremental depth that preserves cap and draft flexibility and nudges internal competition upward. That competition piece matters. Bringing in a hungry receiver with a fresh opportunity pressures the room in the best way. Every rep gets tighter. Coaches can turn up situational periods, 3rd downs, 2-minute, low red. If Boutte isn't 100% for Sunday in Tampa, a quiet backstage tweak could deliver a critical snap, even if it's just a handful of plays. The context is ideal. Stephon Diggs leads the team in receptions and yards, Douglas is coming off a 100-yard day, and complementary targets tend to surface when defenses tilt toward the headliners. One contested slant on 3rd and 4 or a backside fade against single coverage can flip a drive and the narrative. Here's where the story turns ironic. While Rice's arrival sparked debate, another move slid by. Jonathan Ward's release from the practice squad. It looks like a footnote, but it isn't. Ward had just arrived as a fresh bet, and his departure says plenty about how Vrabel frames priorities and depth. The announcement was simple. Sign Rice, release Ward. Inside that one line lives strategy. Ward came in after Terrell Jennings earned a promotion to the 53, but the RB room already had a backbone with Ramondre Stevenson Jennings and rookie Trevayon Henderson. The practice squad also carried backs like Rushawn Baker and Dernis Johnson. In other words, Ward was redundancy the staff could live without. This kind of rotation may feel cold, but it's Patriot way pragmatism. Decisions are made on fit, need, and projection, not attachment. Ward's exit reallocated flexibility toward a position where injuries have piled up before. There is a caveat. If Stevenson misses more time with the toe, Ward's absence might be felt in scout team pass protection reps and in the emergency packages. The staff believes Henderson can absorb a portion of that workload, and the calendar gives them a few practices to validate the plan. Nothing here is sentimental, it's all calculation with January in mind. Meanwhile, the front office hosted 3 defensive tryouts that revealed where the radar is pointed: the trenches. Andrew Farmer, DJ Johnson, and Viliami Fehoko spent a day under the microscope. Farmer, 25, fits the archetype New England loves. Undrafted to the Chargers in 2023, 8 games of experience, a willingness to play edge in special teams, and a backfield key that flashes on tape. He spent 2024 on Denver's practice squad and now reemerges as a hidden gem candidate. Johnson, 27, brings third-round pedigree, nearly 1,000 snaps across defense and teams, hybrid edge/SAM traits, heavy hands, and a steady motor. He simply lost his lane in Carolina, but his template screams mid-season reinforcement if a spot opens. Fehoko is the polarizer, a 4th-rounder in Dallas in 2023 who never cracked that rotation, bounced to Washington, battled injury, and is hunting a reboot. The frame is NFL ready, the technique has room to grow, and the hunger is unmistakable. Exactly the profile Vrabel likes to bet on. There aren't immediate openings on the 53 or the practice squad, which tells you the front office is gathering information and waiting on this week's practice reports before striking. Still, the message is loud. While the outside world labeled the deadline a non-event, Foxborough kept working, testing bodies, checking movement skills, and mapping contingency plans. If a hamstring tightens or a shoulder flares up, the staff wants a phone call to turn into a signature within hours. That's not passivity, it's proactive patience. This ties back to the offense's evolving identity. When you choose developmental depth over a splashy rental, you're saying the system will manufacture answers. That means timing, spacing, and precision on landmarks. It means ball security in crowded windows. It means complementary football, where a defense's takeaway feeds a short field and a red zone package you've been holding all week. It also means more on the backs and tight ends to handle the gritty jobs, chip releases, sift blocks, hot route discipline, so that receivers like Diggs and Douglas can win the leverage battles that matter. The quarter-to-quarter goal isn't fireworks, it's accumulation. First down stacked, penalties avoided, third downs converted, and a defense that plays fresher in the 4th because the offense controlled tempo. Defensively, the identity has tilted toward multiplicity over star power. 4-man rush with simulated pressure, base nickel that morphs to dime, and interior stunts that create free runners without exposing the back end. If a spot opens later, Johnson profiles as the early down Sam who can set an edge and carry a tight end to the flat. Farmer projects as a core team's body who steals 8 to 12 snaps when the rotation needs juice. Fehoko fits as a sturdy 5-tech in bare fronts on short yardage, letting the linebackers stay clean. That complements what Harold Landry and Kayvon Chaisson bring: speed outside, chase effort, and the ability to close when the coverage wins first down. Special teams is part of that calculation. Depth choices at receiver and running back echo on kickoff, punt, and return units. The hidden yardage game that so often flips tight December games. If Rice proves trustworthy as a vice on punt return or as a coverage body, his activation odds rise. Conversely, releasing Ward raises the burden on the remaining backs to handle protection on punt team and to be reliable outlets when the offense is backed up. These are granular calls that never trend on social feeds but show up when a gunner is walled off or a fair catch is secured at the 12 instead of the 6. And then there's fan psychology. Patience is hard when the record says you're ahead of schedule and the conference looks gettable. Fans aren't wrong to want juice. It's sports, it's emotion, but the staff's message has been consistent. Stack good days, let the young core breathe, and don't give away tomorrow's flexibility for today's applause. You can see the buy-in on film. Chase down efforts, sideline energy, and post-game words that feel earned, not scripted. That's why the "we all we got" line resonated. It wasn't manufactured. It sounded like a room that believes. All of this funnels into the immediate challenge in Tampa. No need for bulletin board fuel, but the matchup features a physical front and a secondary that loves late disguise. This is where the week's installation matters. Condensed formations that force cleaner pictures, motion to ID man versus zone, tempo to freeze the exotic rotations. If Rice earns even a small package, backside ISO in condensed splits, a red zone body on a slant flat, or a clear out on a flood concept, he can add value without overwhelming the plan. And if he doesn't get the call yet, the practice reps still matter. They push the room, clarify roles, and make the next call up more ready. Patriots Nation, the message today is simple: conviction over panic. No deadline fireworks, but surgical adjustments, internal competition, and an active radar for the right reinforcements. Brendan Rice arrives as a smart bridge, Jonathan Ward's exit calibrates the RB room, and the defensive evaluations prove no one is comfortable. January is built in November, practice by practice. Now I want to hear you. Is protecting chemistry and developing the young core the right call, or did the team need boldness to accelerate the window? Drop your take below, hit like, share with another fan, and subscribe so you don't miss the next twist out of Foxborough.